God,
Hello.
how are you today?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. All right, so we're getting this. It's Today is Monday. The Bills
Right.
played Cleveland yesterday,
Mhm.
and we're doing this a little early because Thanksgiving this week. Bills play on
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. We don't have as much time to turn around here, so we thought we'd do our recap. Boy, ha- have you ever lived through a how do they call us snow?
Yes.
Wow, that was something. I don't remember ever living through something like that. I don't even remember hearing about an actual
Yeah. I went through a storm. It was extremely heavy snow. It was lake effect snow, so it was the big flakes and it was very wet and heavy. And then you had thunder and it was actually I was outside shoveling the snow while the thunder was going on, and it was actually scary.
Oh, okay. Good.
Spooky, I guess I should say, more than scary. It wasn't like I was scared of the thunder. It was more like this is something you might see in some kind of whacked out science fiction movie. Like the aliens are coming through the clouds. That movie. Nope.
I tell you what, I'm kind of glad I never experienced that.
Yeah, it was like very weird. Yeah, very weird.
All right, so just to make it to Detroit, so the
Huh?
game moved to Detroit just to make it there.
Mm-hmm.
There's pictures all over Twitter and some videos of Bills players being picked up by snowmobile,
Yeah.
being picked up by four wheelers, people helping them try to get out of their driveway.
You see, the guy came with the tractor to shovel out Josh Allen.
Yeah, I did. Um,
The guy's name was like Spider or something. I don't remember, some weird name like that, and he's famous now.
Eric Woods was on WGR and he was talking about a particular snowstorm, and he's like, some guy who I don't know came by and I got on the back of a snowmobile and he took me to the office, to the
Mm-hmm.
facility.
Facility, yeah.
I still don't know who he is. He dropped me off and left. And so I don't know who he is, but that's
Yeah,
how I got there. He's like, yeah,
yeah,
it happens.
yeah. That's really nice people, huh?
Yes, yes. I know Alan. I don't know if you saw after the game. Of course, the coach says a few words, and then Alan spoke, and he's like, like he says some nice stuff about the fans,
Yeah.
how they helped a bunch of players and whatnot. And I thought they should have given the fans a game ball.
That would have been a good idea. Yeah.
And
Not only the fans that helped them get out of Buffalo, but there was like I would say 30,000 fans in Detroit
you know,
at the game of just Bills fans.
they should give them a game ball, and I think they should have sent that ball to Canton, Ohio.
Yeah, that'd be pretty
You
cool.
know, I don't know if I don't know the last time you've been there. There's a nice photograph there of what Van Miller called pandemonium
Hmm.
when the fans tore down the goalposts.
Oh, after the big game, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I think
Pandemonium.
well, fandemonium. That's right. I call pandemonium fandemonium. That's what he called it. Yeah. So I think this would have been a nice little thing put next to it. But even if not that, they've got the wall Ring of Fame.
Hmm.
This would that football would have been a nice little thing that they could have put behind glass and put up some shots of fans helping. I'm assuming that at some point they've got that little show that they put on over the internet. For the life of me, I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically behind the scenes with the Bills.
And we got to give credit to the Cleveland Browns as well. Maybe they didn't have the snow that Buffalo had, but they still had to disrupt their time. They had to change the schedule. They had to go to a different city. They were scheduled to go to Buffalo. They had to change the plans. They had to redo all the reservations, the hotels, and all that. I mean, you got to give that team a little credit as well.
Yeah,
They cooperated. They got it done.
I don't know if you saw the most recent Buffalo Plus. Mike Catalana is talking about like they didn't have food for the reporters there.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
or at least not for the sideline ones. He might have gotten something, but he was like, Jenna hasn't eaten yet. We got to cut this short.
And hasn't eaten. He was afraid she was going to get hangry on him.
Nobody wants to see.
I'm sorry, I couldn't find it.
I'm trying to get you next. I'm sorry.
Oh, too funny.
All right. So what we saw in this game.
Yeah.
On the good, look, it's not the first time that I've said this, but when the Bills face a team that are kind of one-dimensional,
Mm-hmm.
they can shut down that one dimension.
Yeah.
They're good. If you are a running team, predominantly a running team, now I know the famous game against Tennessee a couple years ago, that's true. But by and large, if you're one-dimensional, they will force you to beat them doing
Mhm.
something else.
Yeah,
And
they did. They shut down the run game for Cleveland and forced Jacoby Brissett, who actually did not have a bad game.
overall he did good. He had a real nice first half.
And the Bills won because although they weren't touchdowns, they continued to score and score and score. And quite frankly, John, the game came down to the final minute, and it was a what do you call it? One of those onside kicks, and Gabe Davis muffed it. Right? The ball went up. He grabbed it with his hands, and it went right through his hands.
I'd say
The Bills could have lost this game.
Well, I don't remember the score at that time, but I think Cleveland, even
We
with
were down by 8.
okay, so I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we talked a little bit about what they did good. Is there anything else that the Bills did good you want to get into?
Well, I really do, and I have to say this: the adversity that they went through, just having to change at the last minute,
Sure.
and you know, when you talk about players that are married and they got, you know, their wives and their kids, they're going to leave them in that snow-getting mess.
Right.
Do you know if they got groceries? Does the lady need products? The kids need diapers. You know, who's going to shovel the driveway? The worry on some of those men's heads,
Right.
as well as the physicality of trying to shovel their drive, trying to find a way to get to the stadium. That and the lack of enough practice.
Sure.
And still get to Detroit. And you still got this worry on your mind, what's going on back home? Is my family okay? That plays on you.
Sure.
And they stayed focused in this game. It could have been an easy game for the Bills to lose, and nobody would have probably picked them.
Sure. Because of all the stuff, yeah.
Because of all the stuff. And they would have just said, well, you know, if they got there, they played, you got to take your hats off. But they didn't. They kept playing and playing and playing. Could they have played better? Was the offense rusty coming out? Yes. Did they still sputter in the red zone? Yes. Did the defensive backs give up some passes to Amari Cooper? Yes. But they continue to hang together. We had a little drama during the game where Stefon Diggs was complaining to the coach that he wasn't getting the ball, and you know, so we'll have to watch that going forward. But they got their act together and they continued to move the ball. I think they scored like on 6 or 7 straight possessions. Now, a lot of them were field goals. They ended up with 6 field goals in this game and a couple of touchdowns. So they didn't blow anybody away. It was close to the scores. I think I predicted 31-10, and it ended up 31-22 or 23. So Cleveland scored 2 touchdowns at the end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But the Bills hung on there. They did the best they could after all that adversity, still knowing that after this game, I got to get on a plane and go back into that mess. And a lot of those guys are, I want to go. I got family there. I got to figure out, you know, is everything okay? So I'm going to give this as I'm going to give it a pass as anything I would normally pick on with their play, and just say, congratulations, you guys did a hell of a thing and you won the game as well. And let's get that one under our belt and move on to the next one.
All right.
That's my favorite on it.
Well, the only thing I would throw in there is the Bills ran the ball well.
Mm-hmm.
They ran the ball.
John, that stat I sent you? Singletary had 86 yards rushing. Cook had 86 yards rushing.
Mhm.
When did you see running backs go to 170 yards? And the one back, Nyheim Hines, who, by the way, was fabulous on kickoffs, or on punt returns. He gets caught behind the line for an 8-yard loss. So that takes away a little bit from the running game. But the guy had him in the ear hole of his helmet, and they never called it.
Yeah, yeah, they're supposed to call that.
Yeah. So the running backs did a phenomenal game. And Josh Allen's stats for running, 7 yards. Jan,
Yep.
that's what I like to see with a win out of my quarterback.
No designed runs for him, just some scrambles.
Mm-hmm.
When he had to,
When he had to.
Since you brought up the play where they caught Himes behind the line of scrimmage there,
Yeah.
George, I don't know if you would have noticed it or not, but the defensive end who gets into the backfield
Right.
on that play, it was Gabe Davis. That's who they lined up to.
Yeah. He just knocked him right out of he just went right through him.
And I know that they like his blocking ability and whatnot, but
Why is he trying to block a defensive end and not like at least a tight end out there, or bringing us another offensive lineman? But Gabe Davis to go up against the
that's one of those things where I think the idea is the defensive end is gonna go one way because that's the motion. Hines is coming the other way, and it won't be a hard block. He just has to kind of get in the way.
Mhm.
The defensive end never did that. He just bowled through him
Mm-hmm.
and really ran over him. And totally, he read the play and he blew it up. So good for him. I got to tell you, I don't know how often a wide receiver is brought in to do that. At times, a lot of times you think more it's a crackback kind of block.
Right.
So, but in this case, he would have had to have really just held his own against this guy, and he's probably 75 pounds, lighter than that.
Mm-hmm.
There was very little chance that was going to work. Felt bad for Himes. There was his only real handoff.
And there was a big penalty against our fullback.
Gilliam.
And there was no penalty. He didn't do it. It was a bad call.
Yeah. Of course, I'm glad the Bills won.
Yeah.
But you have to wonder. So the Bills won, they go home. Being the winning team, because since they didn't lose,
Mm-hmm.
this is the time to be getting on the phone to the NFL office and being like, who the heck are these refs? Like, these guys don't belong in an NFL field. What are you doing? Why are these guys out there? And they could go there, because now it won't be sour grapes because you lost. Now it'll be, these guys are bad. And here are the examples. I don't know if they do that or not. I really don't know. That you're not going to hear anybody question the coach on that, because he can't say much, because if he criticizes the refs, he gets fined.
Okay.
So generally when they criticize the ref, it's only after a loss, because they're so frustrated they don't care about the fight.
Mm-hmm.
But this would have been the time, and maybe quietly, this is the time to be like, what the hell? These guys should be graded poorly for this game and should absolutely not be doing playoff work. Right?
Were they scheduled to be the refs in Buffalo anyway, or were they like last minute substitutions that they could get to Detroit? I mean, I don't know.
I don't either. They might in the pregame they might have talked about it. I have no idea. I really don't know if anybody mentioned that. I was watching in a bar, so I can't hear the game. So I really don't know. All right. Um, the Browns defense isn't really great against the run, but still we ran the ball well, and that was good to see.
We ran the ball well, and we consistently ran it throughout the entire game. We didn't run it for a while and stop. We didn't throw a whole game and then start running. They ran the ball consistently. They kept the defense honest.
You know, I think we kind of saw here what I think this is what their philosophy was supposed to be, wanted to be when they had Moss and Singletary.
Mm-hmm.
Two guys both getting decent yardage. You know what I mean? Like, you're not overworking one, you're mixing things up, just like you're keeping your defensive line fresh, you're keeping those guys fresh. It didn't really work out with those two. Cook adds kind of a different dimension there. And man, there was a play. He was a shoestring tackle, stopped him from going 73 yards.
Yes.
You know,
He has breakaway ability.
And that's something that future defenses have to watch for now.
Yeah, we haven't seen that in a long time. And John, don't you think that, I mean, Singletary did a great job too.
Sure.
Don't you think that Nyheim Hines is exciting as a punt returner?
Yeah.
And maybe we're going to see him in the mix in the backfield, maybe in pass catching a bit. We'll see.
Oh, I got to tell you a story. Hold on. This drove me nuts.
Okay.
I'm watching, I'm listening to WGR.
All right.
And I forget the guy's name. The guy he does the nighttime show for them. And he's pointing out that other teams that made trades for offensive players at the trade deadline are doing a better job of utilizing their new.
Right.
And then he says, I know what they're going to say. If you ask them, I know what they're going to say. They're going to say the offense is really complicated. They're going to say, okay, so he lists out the bullet points that he believes the Bills would say,
right,
if you ask them why they're not using it more. He then spends 20 minutes criticizing the Bills about stuff they never said, but he said for them.
He said for them. Okay.
He said for them.
All right, I like that.
Yeah. For 20 minutes, he's just raving if the offense is that complicated, you should make it easier. Other teams were able to work their guys in and create a packet. He goes on and on. And I'm like, but I don't know about you, George, but I think I feel like they've shown me enough that they went to get him to be a special teams player.
I do too.
That's why they got him. I don't mean they wanted to get a running back who could also help them with special teams. They went and got their punt returner in that trade.
Yeah.
And when he came in, he said to the press, I'll do whatever this team needs me to do.
Yes, he did.
And you know why? They had already talked, I believe, before they finished that trade, they had talked to him about,
here's your role.
Here's the role. In the future, maybe we could work but this is the role right now. And he was like, yeah, I still want to come. And I think that, I know it's just, we look at what looks to be evidence. They tried to get J.D. McKissick. They signed Duke Johnson. They drafted a running back who's a great pass catcher. They then went out and got a running back who is, again, a good pass catcher. And so it looks like it all follows. And therefore, it seems like, okay, they got him to help the offense. And I don't think they did. I think if he had been a wide receiver or a defensive back, they would have still made the trade. They wanted a veteran who they could count on and depend on to apparently not just punt returns, but kick returns too.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing for them.
Yeah, he is. And he's doing it well. We're getting run backs. We're getting 18 yards here, 10 yards here. We weren't getting any of that. They'd catch the ball and just drop.
They're not renting him. He has a contract.
Yeah.
As long as they're comfortable with that contract, in the off season, he'll take part in the mini camps. He'll be in the preseason. We may see next year he has a bigger role in the offense, a role with the offense. But right now,
He's more exciting than Moss. That's for darn sure.
he's more exciting. Well, and Moss wasn't a special teamer like that.
No, but I'm saying we have one less back because we gave up Moss. So this is Moss's replacement, and
It's
he's more
Moss.
exciting than Moss. If he's a backup, I like him a lot better than Moss.
He's a backup. Okay, there you go. He's a backup. And one game they even activated Duke Johnson and had him return. He's also a backup.
Yeah.
Backup, because he's on special. So I think that they're happy with their running back. You know what I mean? And if anything, we may see a bigger portion go to Cook. That is probably the plan. And we might see, he got he was utilized quite a bit this game. I don't know if we'll see the game where he's utilized more than Singletary this year.
Cook. Yeah. Okay.
No,
well, maybe if there are injuries, I don't think the Bills are ever going to rely on a rookie running back to take them through the playoffs.
That's a good point. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
But I do see.
Yeah, we could see in the playoffs, Cook comes off the field. He doesn't see the field again. That's true. Yeah.
I can see the ability of the Bills to find a way to get Nyheim Hines involved in the offense in the red zone. John, he's so fast. He's so speedy that if the Bills are flooding their wide receivers out to the goal line and nobody's open, you can get the ball to Hines and he might be able to close that gap. And instead of the Bills having 2nd and goal from the 8, they may have 3rd and goal from the 3. You know what I mean? And I can see them utilizing him.
Yeah, if you're giving him the ball in the backfield, his ability to get to the line of scrimmage faster could be a factor. I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speed you can't teach speed, and speed is very important for football. But there is diminishing returns as you get into the red zone and as you get closer to the goal line. In some ways, speed becomes less of a factor because they run out of real estate.
Yeah,
it's not quite as difficult to cover, but and then sometimes you want size, maybe more than as much as or more than speed. But you're right, and he's a football player, so we might see that.
Where we used to see McKenzie come around the end, he was the guy that McKenzie would come around the end. I'm losing confidence in McKenzie, and I can see a guy like Hines being involved in that kind of a play.
I got to tell you, I was in the preseason when they were talking about if McKenzie is going to get 50% of the snaps he was playing so well in the slot, if he's going to get, maybe they would want to have somebody else take his role in special teams, like the punt returns. And I was like, how hard can it really be? But considering his production this year, it's probably just as well that they're not trying to use him on special teams.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're right. Maybe that is a thing, and maybe that would be too bad because his sweet spot might very well have been gadget plays, and he's the backup wide receiver. Somebody you put out there when you need 4 wideouts, 5 wideouts to take a slot space. But maybe he isn't somebody that you can depend on for 16 games. And I really think that we see the consequences of having one less receiver that Allen is really comfortable with.
Well, I think we're going to see going forward. I think you're going to start seeing Shakir break more into the lineup. That's still my call.
Yeah.
They're not utilizing McKenzie, and when they are utilizing him, he can't quite get the job done.
Yeah.
And I know he's fast. I don't know if he's faster than Hines or not, but all the other players on the team, the only other fast guy besides McKenzie is Hines, and he's speedy.
Well, maybe Shakir's got some speed. I don't know if he's. I don't know.
I think Hines is a lot fast. I don't think Shakir is known as a speedy guy, but
Some speed. He ain't big. He ain't really big.
yeah.
But I hear you. I hear you though. Yeah.
And I can see them starting to utilize speed with a guy that's got some confidence, and he might be. The only problem with that there is if they only want him to concentrate on special teams and not have to think about the offense. But I think they'd be cutting off their nose to spite their face. Hines is an experienced guy, he's a pro, and he has played a lot of offense. And but I could see that them utilizing that speed. He's not going to be out there every play, but I can see them developing a package for him. And I'm waiting to see where Shakir starts to line up in the slot because McKenzie's really not getting anything done for us.
I gotta hand it to you. You find a way to get Shakir
in every episode.
Where's it wrong? There's his name on it. You would be beating that there.
Well, I'm glad to see Cook finally getting going. And it was fantastic. And I heard some comments like, oh, the Bulls had a good running day. Well, that's not a great team they're in. In the past, they couldn't run against anybody.
Well, they would stop. In the second half, they would just stop trying. Even if they had a good first half, they would just get away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. They finally, it was one of the few games where they just kept trying to run the ball and run the ball.
Right.
It helped that they were having some success, but sure. So I'm encouraged by that.
Mm-hmm.
You have any thoughts about what we're going to see coming up against Detroit? Have you had a chance to take much of a look at that?
Well, I got a lot to say about that, and I don't know if you maybe would. Here's a couple of things I'll throw out to you. I got some things we can talk about, but I think that'd be enough for a whole segment.
Well, I'll tell you what.
And
why don't we end this one? We'll swoop another one then.
All right, because I think this is gonna be, you're gonna be shocked at some of these things.
All right. Well, listen, hope you enjoyed the video, everyone.
I know I did.
Hope you enjoyed the great victory. If you are in Orchard Park or the surrounding areas,
Buy a shovel.
Be safe. Yeah, buy a shovel. Good luck. Don't get hurt shoveling that snow.
Was it you that sent me the picture of the car driving down the street with
snow
on top?
We've all been there.
Oh my God, I remember those. Okay, so I'm in a place where it still snows. I'm in Omaha, but we wouldn't get that much snow in a whole year.
Sure.
We wouldn't get that much snow in 2 years. Maybe 3 years. So, God bless the people of Buffalo and helping their team out. That's a hell of a community. You know what I mean, John?
Yeah.
And did you see that it ended up like they donated the money? Remember the tight end?
When Knox's brother died.
Knox's brother. They ended up giving $230,000 by doing donations of $16.88 because that was the two players' numbers.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
And so people would donate $16.88 and it added up to $230,000 for that hospital in Buffalo to help future young people.
Right. All right. Listen, stay safe, everyone. My hand's right here. Stay safe, everybody.
All right. Go Buffalo.
Bills.
Go Bills.
Oh, no. Hold on. Hold on, everyone. And